Boise State is competing for a spot in the college football playoffs. The Aztecs are not, and it was quite obvious on the blue turf in Idaho as Boise State crushed the Aztecs 56-24. Hello and welcome to this post-game edition of Aztecs All In. I'm Louis Weiner along with Steve Perez. And Steve, this one was ugly with a capital U.
Yes, sir. Sitting somewhere in the Midway District after wrapping up an ugly game of my own that saw Cathedral pummel Point Loma on senior night for Point Loma. And it was over at the half in that game.
But Cathedral outscored Boise, right? 56
right,
points.
Cathedral had, 55 points, 56 points, yeah. Or was it the other way around? No.
Oh, no, it was the other way around.
Yeah,
Never
Cathedral
mind.
scored 55 points.
55. So Boise outscored Cathedral. Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about this one. In the first half, Steve, it was the Aztecs' inability to sustain drives on offense and failing to involve Marquez Cooper at all in the first quarter. In fact, at the end of the first quarter, Cooper had just 2 carries for 3 yards, and Trey White, who leads the nation in sacks, had 1 rush for 4 yards thanks to a successful fake punt. So the Aztecs, they started the game 3 and out and just struggled in the first quarter.
Well, that sounds like that's a credit to the Boise State defense. I mean, the Aztecs still finding their way with the Aztec fast routine, but they do have some players and they do have some skills. But it also looks like Danny O'Neill caught the turnover bug and threw to the blue shirts on a couple of occasions tonight. Neither of them worked out well for the Aztecs.
No, he struggled in the first half. As you said, he threw 2 picks, looked better in the second half. He finished 14 of 30 for 155 yards, 2 picks including a pick 6, I must say. And those interceptions came on back-to-back possessions. He threw a pick 6 to a Marion McCoy, 35 yards returned, made it 21-0. And then they got the ball right back, and on 3rd and 20, he was intercepted again. So that really caused Aztec trouble. They could not sustain drives and kept giving the ball back to Boise. And the time of possession, Steve, at the end of this one was really ugly. 39 minutes and 32 seconds for Boise to 20 minutes and 28 seconds for the Aztecs.
And that shows itself, too, in the total yards, where Boise State, 541 total yards, the Aztecs, half that amount, 256. Boise State had 21 points in the first quarter, 14 in the second, and that looks like that was ball game there. The Aztecs' defense and ability to contain Ashton Genty, who ran for 149 yards, a couple touchdowns, and then their quarterback, Maddox Madsen, had a career night apparently.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Threw for 307 yards. Boise State has a very deep, talented, big, physical offensive line, and with a performance like that, it sounds like he had a lot of time to survey the field and find his targets.
Obviously, the game plan in the first half was to stop Ashton Genty, and they did that, Steve. He only had 37 yards on 15 carries, but they were doing such a great job of keeping him from getting his yards that receivers were wide open. I mean, Maddox was completing passes to guys who there was nobody within 5-10 yards of them, and so stopping Genty worked, but it didn't work in the other end of the defense because they gave up lots of yards in the air.
Well, first of all, thank you for spoiling this whole thing for me, because I DVR'd this game as I was busy on another pursuit tonight. So you spoiled the whole thing. I was going to tell you at the outset, no spoilers, but here we all are, and it is spoiled. And the second thing is, that ship has sailed, and I will complain for a moment about the notion of playing college football games on a Friday night when all across America, high schools are playing under the Friday night lights, and really robs a bit of a tradition there. But that's what TV is going to do, especially when there's a lot of money at stake. It'll screw up everything it touches.
Yeah, and we have it again next Friday, New Mexico at Snapdragon on the turf. That I don't know if you heard the turf story that the San Diego Wave had to move their game because the turf is not in good condition.
There'll be time to get all kicked up over that in the coming days. But in the meantime, still picking over the remains of this one.
Yeah.
The nice way to put it is a rout, right?
It was. But, Steve, the Aztecs had a shot. They made it 28-10 after Marquez Cooper regained 45 yards on the ground, then a completion to Shaw, and then Cooper scored on a 6-yard touchdown run. So it was 28-10. And then Boise got the ball back, and every time the Aztecs had a chance to get them off the field, they couldn't. Tano Latui on third down just missed a sack on 3rd and 9 from his own 38. Huge play. Madsen completed a first down pass. Then on 3rd and 12 from the Aztecs 39, they completed a 16-yard pass. Boise was 7 of 8 on 3rd downs up to that point. On 3rd and 1, Ashton Junty was stopped, but on 4th and 1, Madsen found a receiver wide open in the end zone for a 14-yard touchdown. So that was a 13-play, 75-yard drive, 5.5 minutes. And if the Aztecs could have gotten them off the field there, it could have been a different game.
There's your tell. Trey White, the leading sack artist in the nation in college football, came up snake eyes tonight against Boise State. If he is unable to put pressure on the quarterbacks, what they got? They had 1 sack. Tano and Krishna Clay, half sacks. And then Josh Hunter, half sacks. That's 1.5 sacks on the night.
Tano had a really good game. He had 10 tackles, and he was all over the field. The announcers mentioned his name a bunch of times. On offense, Steve, though, Lewis Brown IV got shut out. No catches. And on one play, O'Neal threw deep to Brown, who stopped midway in the route. So obviously their wires were crossed there. So not a good game for him after he missed last week due to some personnel issues. So Mekhi Shaw did catch a touchdown late in the game.
Overall, though, Lewis, it doesn't sound like I want to actually run back home right now and start tearing through this one.
Well, when we get on the podcast and I say 56-24, I think you know where this one went. So
yeah. So meantime now, Boise State, because I think, let's face it, the Mountain West would have hated it if the Aztecs had figured out some way to pull the upset tonight, because then that most certainly would have knocked Boise State out of the top 25 with that kind of a loss. Now, as it stands, it is Mountain West's main hope for an appearance in the college football playoff that has been expanded this season. So they will continue on in that vein, whilst the Aztecs have a chance. I guess might as well talk about that a little bit. They do have the opportunity to make it to a bowl game, become bowl eligible. There are some games on the schedule, starting with New Mexico, that they have an opportunity to get back in the winning ledger and make that a goal for the rest of the season.
Most definitely. The conference, they are now 2-1, and Boise State 4-0, Colorado State 3-0. And while the Aztecs technically are, near the top, I don't think that that's something that they are really going to be involved in as the season progresses.
Yeah, at this point, suppose they do win out, they figure out a way to beat Las Vegas, they would still lose the tiebreaker to Boise State, but they maybe have an outside chance if you do some kind of math about making that playoff game for the Mountain West Conference title. No, some really bad things would have to happen to some teams ahead of them, and some really good things would have to happen for the Aztecs the rest of the way for that to be a possibility. So focusing on trying to get those extra wins to make them bowl eligible, that would be an overachievement, I think, for this team this season if they could do that.
Yeah, I thought if they finished at 500, that would be a successful season. I think that would still be the case at this point. Hey, Steve, there's one stat I didn't tell you about, and it's pretty interesting. The Aztecs finished the game 6 for 6 on 4th downs. And in the fourth quarter, on their last touchdown drives, they were actually 3 for 3 on 4th down. So there you go, some positive news from the ball game.
I see Cam Davis actually got a couple more carries, too.
Yeah, he did. He got in there late. Yeah.
Well, that's
all
good
right.
to see.
Yeah,
so the Aztecs will face New Mexico Friday night, right? Boise State will host Nevada on November the 9th.
That is correct.
You know what? Before we close this one off, it is worth pointing out that Boise State played last Friday night as well. So they had a full week of rest in preparation for this. The Aztecs played last Saturday night. They had a short week, played on Friday night. And did it show, if they had gotten another day to rest up and prepare for this team, you think it would have made a difference?
I don't think so, honestly. Do you?
I don't know. I didn't see the game. But looking at the scoreboard, no.
Well, you should go home and watch it and be surprised. So,
actually, I should go home and do some more work for the Prep Pigskin Report.
Okay, well, let's
On
quickly.
KUSI, Friday nights. At
After
11.
the game, after the game, Sean Lewis talked about the game, courtesy of 760, and here's what he had to say.
You know, obviously, anytime that you spot a really good football team, those kinds of points early, you're putting yourself in a pretty significant hole that's going to be very hard to overcome. Well, I mean, they're a very complete team that have a lot of offensive weapons that stress you out in a lot of ways. So obviously, going into it, you know who the main workhorse is that warrants all kinds of attention. And then obviously, you got to do a great job in the throw game. And the compliments that they have off of their run actions really stress you out. They did a nice job, using some compliments, some lookalikes. And we got to do a better job again, putting our kids in the best position to be successful with the way that we're leading them. Yeah, I mean, we do it the same way that we do every single outcome and every single game. Right? We own what we put on tape. We'll come in on Sunday. We'll clean it up. We'll learn from, obviously, the hard lessons that we felt tonight. There'll be some individual victories and moments that we can take confidence from, right? And be able to take those lessons, take those moments where we learn and where we grow and move forward and get ready to play another dangerous team Friday at home at Snapdragon. And looking forward to our community showing up and supporting our guys. We've got a lot of football left to play in the back half of the season with all the opportunities still ahead that are really, really important.
And that will do it for this post-game edition of Aztecs All In. Thank you so much for joining us. Please follow us on the X at Aztecs_all_in, or you can drop us a line at aztecsallin@gmail.com. So until next time, for Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner. So long.